Welcome to the 2020 fantasy football season. Hopefully, everyone's been safe out there with COVID going on. Hopefully, no one's gotten sick. Everyone's doing all right. Our families are doing all right. Uh, this video is going to be very similar to the last one I just did for Roots League. I just wanted to say, T's and P's out there for all the guys that are dealing with all the wildland fires right now, either up at Beale, up at Travis. Guys, stay safe. Um, yeah, that's that. All right, so welcome back, everybody. A couple of things we wanted to discuss real quick is I went ahead already and reactivated the league. I got the key official keeper thread posted on there. We're going to be mirroring a lot of this between mine and Roots League because it's easier if we keep a lot of things similar. That way we don't have to worry about how things are applied back and forth, and it's a little bit easier for those that are in both leagues. Some of us are actually in three or more leagues, so it's even easier to try to kind of keep things as similar as possible throughout as many as we can. All right, so the keeper post we're actually going to have for the 28th of August by midnight. Um, you might ask midnight Eastern Standard Time or Pacific Standard Time, Central Mountain. When you go into ESPN and you put a post on there, it stamps it for the time and the date. So you might want to hop in there and test and see. I believe ESPN has handled everything by the Eastern Standard Time. But when you actually go in there, do a test post to say, hey, how are things going type of thing, so that way you can see. If anyone makes a post and it closes out after the 28th at midnight, so if it says 29 August at 0001, no good, doesn't count. You forfeit your keeper for this league. You are able to obviously remain in the league. You'll just pick a draft pick at that position as opposed to going with your keeper. Uh, as as it relates to the keeper, make sure that you are looking to see that that player hasn't been kept back to back, that you drafted them, they're remaining on your roster. A couple of things like that, because we've had times in the past where people have identified ineligible keepers and therefore they've lost it, and it kind of, I don't want to be that guy, but um, we all know how this goes. This isn't very new. We've been doing this for a couple of years now. The draft, we're going to run for the draft on the 4th September, which I believe is a Friday. For my league, we're going to have it at 2 o'clock. It seems that when we draft it in Roots League and my league, for some reason, Roots takes a little bit longer. I don't know why. So in the past, I think we've kind of scheduled out a 3 hours in between the two, but this year we're going to go 4. So my league will start the draft at 2 o'clock California time, 1400 for you military folks still. A couple of things that had come up as I was talking to some of the guys in the league as well is I wanted to get everyone's thoughts on the possibility of creating a second IR spot specifically for COVID related issues. I'm going to put a poll up on there so that way everyone gets a chance to vote so we can have everyone's voice heard. I found out earlier today when I was messing around on the site for Roots League that you are only allowed to have one active poll at a time. So what we'll do is there's a couple of things that I want to put out to the league for us to get a vote on. This probably is the easiest way to do it. So we will put up one poll. We'll get all the votes that come through. I'll post what the finalized thing is, and then we'll move on to the next one. If we can get these knocked out as fast as possible, then everything will be ironed out before the draft, which is ideal. So the first poll that's going to go on there is, do we want a second IR spot specifically for COVID? Obviously, we would have an IR spot there for somebody who gets injured. That has been the same for the last few years. Um, Another thing that was brought up that we're going to create a poll for after that one closes out is, in last year, we actually had someone draft Andrew Luck, identified him as a keeper. So after the keeper deadline had passed, but before the draft was initiated, oh boy decided to retire. So I allowed that individual, if he wanted to go ahead, I believe I did, if he wanted to go ahead and pick somebody else, he was able to do so. So I wanted to get everyone's thoughts on that again this year. Is I feel that we should, however, I want this league to be ran for people, everyone get a sense where their voice is heard. So that will be the second poll we'll put up is, do you think we should actually allow someone to establish an additional keeper if and only if that individual they identified as their keeper something changed before the draft day, i.e., they retire, they get um, injured, or even possibly they decide to opt out of this season for COVID reasons or whatever it is. Who knows? But we wanted to discuss it to see if that was something we wanted to do there. Another thing that was brought up through the text message change in another league that I wanted to bring to this one is there's going to be a lot of uncertainty this year with going on with COVID. So, do we want to establish how many games have been completed in order for us to consider it a complete season if it is ended prematurely? Um, if we wanted to look at something like if it's like almost like a baseball game, if it gets through so many innings and it has a rain delay and they're unable to complete it, then after so many innings, it's considered a complete game, and whatever the score was at that part or when it ended, that's when it goes down to. So that might be something we have to do this year with football. As let's say after the first 10 or 12 weeks, 8 weeks, who knows, they decide to shut down the NFL season. Do we want to look at establishing a number that everyone's good with, possibly 10 or 11 weeks, that if we go through this many weeks, we can actually go ahead and change the format into the playoffs and allow it to start earlier, or just possibly look and see at the end of those 10 weeks, if that is the how long it ends, the records, or do we want to look at points, or what do we want to do? It's going to be up for discussion for everybody. Those are a couple of things that I wanted to bring up. I will obviously post this video on the league. I got a picture of last year's draft board. I will upload that to Imgur and put a link from Imgur into a message board. I did discover that ESPN has changed their site quite a few times, so we are unable to post links directly, hyperlinks for you to click on and take you to that site. So when I post the URL for this video, you have to copy and paste in the web browser, and the same thing for the Imgur link. So I think those are a couple of the really big things I wanted to focus in on this year before we obviously got down to selecting the draft order. So as you can see, I've taken the liberty of already filled out the people's names. We do have everyone coming back, which is absolutely awesome. I got a thumbs up from everybody. Quite a few people are still going to be in the local area, which is awesome. I mean, there are still a few folks who are either in Southern California or in another state. But as always, we'll stream this on Twitch as well as see if we can get a Discord up and running this year. We'll do it through text messages as well. And then at the end of each round, I'll take a picture of the draft board, send it out to the entire group thread so that way everyone can kind of see where it is and get caught up if you might have fallen behind a pick or two. So we got it figured out right here, or filled out. So let's go ahead and randomize this so we see what we got. Here we go. All right, so there's our draft order. Congrats, Serrano, for getting that number 1 spot. Antoine coming in at number 2. Obviously, me at 3, Root 4. You guys can read. So I will go ahead and post this on the site so everyone can see the draft order. If there's any other things that we want to bring up before the draft happens, so that way we get a chance to hash things out. If we wanted to make any changes to roster positions or score settings or anything like that, or if there's something that I just might have overlooked that we want to incorporate into the league or change with the league, please let me know so that way everyone feels like their voice is being heard and we can actually make some changes that are good. Hoping to see everybody at the draft once again, 4 September, 2 o'clock, 1400 for you military folks. That's not me anymore. I'm enjoying my retirement. Everyone, of course, is invited over to the house. If you need to bring kids, spouses, please do that as well, because I have a strong feeling that obviously my kids are going to be here. My spouse might be here if she's not TDY. I've got additional bedrooms. I've got couches. I got a futon back over here. There will be drinks. There will be food. As always, we're all grown-ups, so if you're going to come over and partake in a beverage or two, make sure you please have a plan. If that plan is just passing out of my house, that's probably the best plan you can have. Looking to see everyone there. Please, everyone's got my number. If you have any questions or anything, hit me up. If not, then I will be seeing you guys soon. Take care.